Welcome to Inside Games Roundup, the only gaming variety show brave enough to share some good news about video games for a goddamn change. We actually have a whole raft of good stories this week to talk about. The developers of the breakout hit Clair Obscur Expedition 33 confirmed that there will be more games in that series, I guess we can call it now. The developers of Vampire the Masquerade 2 are potentially reconsidering their DLC plans that everyone hated. The Switch 2 is selling extremely well, and even more game devs have unionized. So it's nothing but bright sunshine and silver linings on today's Inside Games Roundup. Oh, I guess the one thing is Bruce is currently wrangling his family through an airport. That's why he's not here, but let's get back to that sunshine news, all glass half full. So let's kick off the news with the one man that had to see a doctor about his silver linings, Brian Garr. How's it looking? How's that turning out?
It's looking good. Yeah, get that colonoscopy, boys. It's about that time. But yeah, we do. I didn't realize we have all good stories pretty much. So let's talk first about Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Fans got some welcome news this week. The critically acclaimed RPG is not a one and done. That's according to no less the game's director, Guillaume Broche. Clair Obscur isn't just the name of the studio's hit, it's also the name of a full-fledged franchise.
Couldn't be far behind after success of that caliber, yeah. Broche told YouTuber Mr. Matty Plays that Clair Obscur is the franchise name. Expedition 33 is one of the stories that we want to tell in this franchise.
Yeah, if it wasn't a franchise before, it is now. He didn't share specifics, but made it clear that sequels are part of the plan, even talking about his process when he writes sequels. In other words, Expedition 33 is not the last word in this world.
Yeah, that makes sense why Sandfall would want to keep going with this now franchise. The game has been a critical and commercial hit after releasing this year. IGN called it a modern RPG classic that borrows from predecessors without feeling too derivative, so it's basically the perfect package. It's definitely a breath of fresh air, I think, in an industry that's being plagued with sort of like Me Too kind of games, lots of copycats. But I guess now we're going to get, 5 or 6 expedition whatevers. So who knows? Maybe we'll get tired of that by the end of it. But it does make sense, though. Even the setup of the story, the multiple expeditions that happened, you hear little bits and pieces about the other stories that happen in this world. It's definitely a ripe setting for other games.
And it brought back turn-based combat. I am excited to see more from them, for sure. All right, let's move on and talk about Vampire Masquerade 2. You might remember the big kerfuffle after developer The Chinese Room revealed that 2 highly requested job classes in Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 would be locked behind $22 worth of DLC. Well, fans were not having it. Outrage spread online, and now they appear to be shifting course.
Or revising plans to potentially shift course, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
In a post on Discord, community developer Debbie Ella told fans, quote, "We are listening to your feedback about the La Sombra and Toreador clan access, and we're making adjustments ahead of launch to reflect this. We will share more information about what this means as soon as possible."
Yeah, the announcement first got spotted on Reset Era, and while it doesn't confirm, like Lawrence said, that the clans will be free, but it signals that the backlash was obviously too loud to ignore.
You love it when a dev is of the size where they do have to actually care about these things, instead of just the Call of Duty thing of, you'll buy new skins and like it, yeah. Originally, Paradox had defended the DLC as a quote-unquote business decision, telling IGN that adding fan-requested content comes at a cost. The phrasing is not great there. How dare you ask for things? But it's true. Making game content does cost money, and they gotta pay their people.
It just wasn't a great look. The way it was done, the optics were just terrible, and I think they're paying the price. No pun intended.
Speaking of paying the price, it seems like a lot of people are willing to do that for the Switch 2. It has sold 2 million units in the US. And it's already leaving its predecessor in the dust. Big news.
Yeah, according to new data, the Switch 2 has already sold more than 2 million in the US after just 2 months on the market. Lots of twos in that sentence. That puts it a whopping 75% ahead of the OG Switch's sales pace, and that was an all-time great, so that's a very good start.
It sure is, yeah. It went on to be an all-time great. I remember the launch of the Switch was rough. There just weren't that many on the market. So if anything, this continues to be a testament to Nintendo's production bandwidth. They actually were able to make enough Switches to sell that many. On that note, that makes the Switch 2 the best-selling console of 2025 so far, and that's both in units and in dollars, surpassing the mighty PlayStation 5. Even its Pro controller is doing well. It's now the year's top-selling accessory.
Yeah, and the Switch 2 already made history in June as the fastest-selling console launch ever in the US, beating out the other mighty PS4. But analyst Matt Piscatella also chalked the sales up to a pretty obvious reason, and Lawrence alluded to it: lots of supply.
Yeah, Piscatella told IGN, quote, "What the launch sales of Switch 2 primarily tell us is that they made a lot of Switch 2s to sell at launch. Lifetime sales and launch sales of a console often do not correlate, meaning that some consoles with small launches ended up doing incredibly well lifetime, while others with big launches ended up doing not so well lifetime." So yeah, we're still in the early phase, I guess, where just a lot of the glow from Switch 1 is carrying right over brand loyalty, etc. What fascinates me, though, in terms of Nintendo as a company, is first with the Switch and now with the Switch 2, they directly told their investors, here's the lesson we learned from the last one. With the Switch, they were like, okay, we didn't support the Wii U with the right kind of software at the right time. So they had a pretty steady cadence of first-party releases for the Switch 1, bolstered it with Zelda and stuff like that at launch. With Switch 2, the lesson that they told their investors that they wanted to avoid was, we didn't make enough. So now they really focused on their supply lines. They'd stocked up a ton, and we're looking at the results of this now. So they've been like refining their launch strategy iteratively, always identifying the biggest problem and absolutely knocking it out. So I give them credit for that. There aren't many companies at that scale that can operate with such clarity and purposefulness around these events.
Yeah, I agree. I also think they probably saw what happened to the PS5, and I think probably took some notes from that. I also think like launch consoles never have a lot of games, but I think the 1-2 punch of Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza, I think has been great. There's not a lot of exclusives, but those are two great ones to well, they didn't launch with Donkey Kong, but it came out right after. I think it's been like a masterclass so far.
Really has, yeah. We got Metroid Prime 4. I don't know, Nintendo is doing a really good job of balancing what they consider would serve their core audience with what their mass sellers are. So I expect that's why my predictions are, if I'm in Nintendo brain, I think we'll get an Animal Crossing maybe 1 year, 1.5 years in. That's a big system seller for them too, and that'll about hit at the point where the early adopter buying wave is starting to taper off. So we'll see. Also, I just want a new Animal Crossing.
Oh gosh, they gotta have one of those in the works. All right, let's talk about Diablo. More than 450 developers across the Diablo franchise voted to unionize with the Communication Workers of America, earning formal recognition from Microsoft.
The move follows months of industry-wide layoffs, including Microsoft's cut of 9,100 jobs earlier this year. Producer Kelly Yo said in a release, "No amount of hard work is enough to protect us," and called the union, quote, "the first step toward lasting change."
The Diablo team that unionized includes artists, engineers, designers, and support staff, and they join a wave of organizing across Microsoft studios, including, World of Warcraft, Overwatch, Raven Software, ZeniMax Q&A, Bethesda. In total, more than 3,500 Microsoft employees have now unionized with the CWA.
That rocks. It's always good news, yeah.
Totally, yep.
And one thing that occurs to me, people never want to give any games as service credit, but Diablo 4 is pretty good, and they've been maintaining it and updating it. And yeah, some of the monetization is a little out of hand. That's usually how it is with games as service. There's always going to be a shark fin soup on the menu somewhere. But in terms of just like operating it, like making it fun to play, making it so the monetization hooks are just so deep in the ocean that if you're just a casual player, you'll probably never butt up against them. They've done a pretty respectful job, and the ongoing work there is pretty impressive too, because operating games as service ain't easy. So if any team deserves the benefits of unionization, the Diablo team has definitely earned it.
It's got its flaws, but I like Diablo 4 a lot. I think they did a good job with it, especially after the disaster of Diablo Immortals. So yeah, I think they rode the line about as well as you can with a game like that.
All right, moving on from there, we know you got to save up money for all those games of service microtransactions you're being extorted out of. So here's a handful of games to play for free because Inside Games is on your side. We're trying to keep money in your pocket. The free games this week on Epic are Machinarium and Make Way. Amazon Prime's got Fate, the Traitor Soul, and Filthy Animals Heist Simulator for you. And this weekend, there's actually a group of games that are free to play this weekend, specifically. Sworn is free to play on Steam. Path of Exile 2, speaking of excellent action RPGs, that's free to play all this weekend. And then Xbox specifically has EA Sports College Football 26, Surviving Mars, The Nightling, and Lost Eidolons, all available for free this weekend on Xbox platform. So get out there and play some free games. Keep your money.
All right, let's do a 5-second review. All right, this is Quartet. It is an old school throwback RPG from the good folks at Something Classic. They've been working on it for 7 years. If you like, OG, NES, Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, stuff like that, this is right in that vein. It involves a train heist. There's great voice acting, great music, really fun combat. I could not recommend this higher. There's a lot, especially for an indie game, just the production values are insane. So well worth you checking out.
I didn't know there was voice acting. That's really impressive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah, good too.
The concept behind it is there's like 4 main characters and their stories all converge at some point. So Quartet. Such a cool idea.
All right, let's talk about the games coming out next week. First up, Metal Eden. This is an adrenaline rush sci-fi FPS. A hyper-unit Asuka is sent on a suicide mission to rescue citizens' cores from Mobius, an orbital city turned into a deadly trap. Dive into cybernetic warfare, face the engineers, and uncover the secrets of Metal Eden. Comes to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC September 2nd.
Next, we got Adventure of Samsara. With stunning 2D pixel art, Adventure of Samsara combines classic gameplay, a deeply connected world, and a heady, twisting narrative of death, rebirth, and memory. Become the solar champion and restore balance to the multiverse. Adventure of Samsara comes to PC on September 4th.
Hell is Us. If war is the closest we get to hell on Earth, it's because Earth harbors the worst of demons, humankind. In an isolated country ravaged by infighting, discover the secrets of your past and deal with the repercussions of a mysterious calamity. It comes to the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and the PC September 4th.
On the big one, a lot of folks have been waiting for this. Hollow Knight Silksong, finally. Discover a vast haunted kingdom in Hollow Knight Silksong. Explore, fight, and survive as you ascend to the peak of a land ruled by silk and song. Hollow Knight Silksong comes to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Switch, and Switch 2 on September 4th.
I can't believe that's coming out next week. Can't believe it. All right, up next, Chronos: The New Dawn. A whole new breed of survival horror emerges with Chronos: The New Dawn. Survive the brutal wastelands of the future, fight nightmarish merging creatures, and jump back in time to harvest souls as you seek to uncover the origins of the apocalypse that wiped out humanity. It comes to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Switch 2, and PC September 5th.
How many bangers this week? I love it. Speaking of, maybe more of a swiper, Everybody's Golf Hot Shots. Everybody's favorite golf game series finally returns to the fairway. Hit the green with a variety of unique characters and courses in online and offline, and single player and multiplayer modes. Game comes to PS5, Switch, and PC on September 5th.
And last, and certainly least, NBA 2K26. Bragging rights are on the line in my career, my team, my NBA, the W, and play now. Showcase your bag of moves with hyper-realism powered by Pro Play TM, and challenge your friends or rivals in NBA 2K26's competitive modes, and leave no doubt that you paid the most for loot boxes. It comes to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, Switch 2, PC, and a courtroom near you, September 5th.
Amazing little shots to the ribs in between the play there. I love it. Ref can't see that shit. Anyway, as we wrap up the show here, we'd like to thank you for choosing to watch Inside Games. There's a lot of gaming content out there, so we appreciate it that you saw this video and decided to watch it and enjoy some gaming news with us. If you enjoyed the episode, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done that yet. There are a few folks out there that enjoy our show so much, they've decided to support us directly via Patreon and keep Brian swimming in 16-bit JRPGs, and we're very thankful for that. Look at how happy he is. It's great. So Old Baby Leg, DJ Kento, Wee Bish, and Shaky Pants. Oh man, you've really empowered Brian to kill more old gods than we can count at this point, so thank you for that. Keeping our free will directly in our chests where it belongs. So thank you very much and have a great weekend. Play a little bit and we'll see you next week on Inside Games.